Well, everybody, buddy, it's your boy Goosebumps Chen back at another video, guys. You know it, aka Justin Sasaki, to bring you another one of those movie reviews that I haven't done in a long time. Today's movie that I just got back from seeing, which I think I left my ticket. It fell in my pocket, I think. It was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. So first, let me give you now. This is a spoiler review, so hopefully, if you don't mind me spoiling some shit, that's fine, I guess. All I'm gonna say is, I did not expect the movie to be that good as it was, and I was sorely mistaken. I liked it. It was great. I think so far it's one of the greatest PG-13 horror films besides Woman in Black that I've ever had the privilege of seeing. That was pretty good. Like legit, it was it was good. Yeah. So let me just get into the backstory of the overall story of the movie. So I was surprised that it took place in 1968. Then again, I probably didn't pay attention a lot to the commercials in the film or the cars used, but it takes place in 1968. There's a lot of references to Richard Nixon in this movie, and granted, he's he's infamous for the Watergate scandal, the first president to almost be or think he was impeached, or he left office but he was about to be impeached. And he's like one of the most infamous presidents the United States ever had, but still, a lot of statements about scenes in it with him. And there was also, so the stories that they used one that I didn't know about here. I mean, it starts with a T. It was like, here, I don't know the name of it exactly, but I'm not gonna go. They did use the haunted house at the very end. They used the haunted house, which again, to me, I told you everyone when I did my video on my collection or the 3 books that I had picked up, the haunted house illustration was the one that scared the shit out of me as a kid. The story was fine. It's the book that scared the illustration that scared the shit out of me. So when I would reread the story, I would always put my hand over the illustration so I didn't have to see it, or I put a piece of paper over the illustration so I wouldn't have to see that part of the illustration. Anyways, but back to what I was saying. I was while I was watching it, so I watched the film, and basically, Sarah Bellows was a person who I'm not sure if you all know what a disappointment room is, but it's also another movie, a good film you should watch. It's a horror film called Disappointment Room. But back in like the late 1800s, maybe to the early middle of the 1900s, maybe 1920s when it started to stop. Wealthy families such as in the case of the Bellows, who in this movie, I don't know what town they're in, but I have a feeling it's Philadelphia or some farming town or something like that. Or Philadelphia, because there's a mention to Penhurst Hospital in the film. But, so anyways, yeah, so I'm guessing it's Philadelphia. At least near Philadelphia. So basically, the Bellows were this family that created their town by starting the paper mill there and started the town and put it on the map. That's what the main character Stella says. Sarah, and then they had a bunch of kids, and one of the kids was named Sarah Bellows, but she was born with severe, not like autism or anything, but she was born with a albinism. And back then, when people weren't born normal, there was 3 things that would happen. 1, it would be usually put in the institution from birth, or like after they're 3 years old or something, for the rest of their life, and be treated like basically shit. 2, you could be put in what is called a disappointment room, and usually disappointment rooms were in wealthy people's houses. They weren't really in like poor people's houses, or like maybe if you were a middle class person, maybe you would have a disappointment room, I guess. I don't know. But basically what it was a room that was not on any actual legit map or schematics of the building of your house. And it was a room usually far off. Maybe it would be like you go into the attic and then there's a door in the attic, and in the attic there's the disappointment room. Or you go into the basement and there's another door in the basement, and that's the disappointment room. And basically what a person would do. Now I'm gonna say this. This is a fucked up practice, and I wholly disagree with whatever this was when this was going on. But when they would have a baby, let's say that has severe autism, mental problems, or deformity, or in the case like, I'm not sure if albinism would be a deformity, but they did say she had a rare case of it, which I didn't even know. And fun fact, she even said that the scientific term of the case that she had of albinism, and I'm like, I do not know what that is. In the film, they say Stella says it, and basically, she gets sentenced. She gets sent into this disappointment room, which basically what a disappointment room is, where they keep you so you don't. Basically, I don't know how to explain this other than that back then, if to have a child like that, and you being a very important person or a wealthy person, is like, I guess you could say, bring shame to your family, and people just can't were prideful, like, yeah, we're not gonna let you do that. Now some people would take care of it, like try to do their best to take care of the child. Some people were horrible at their parents, and then some people just gave up their child to an institution. Anyways, back to the video. Back to the story. So Sarah Bellows made friends with one of their maid's daughter, who I guess was either from Haiti or something. And the story goes that she had taught her black magic, which is never the case. But anyways, kids would every year kids would always go to the house, try to meet Sarah Bellows, because they all knew about her, but they didn't know that she was true or not. So what happened would be, but they couldn't ever meet her, but she would tell them scary stories through the wall in her disappointment room. And the legends of the town said that Sarah Bellows killed the children and used their blood to make to write her stories, which was never the case. In actuality, kids started to die and disappear, not because of Sarah Bellows at all. In actuality, Sarah Bellows told these kids that her parents, her family's paper mill has released lead into the water supply of the town on accident. Either it was an accident or on purpose, or no one really knows. All it was told was her family knew about it and didn't neglected to tell anyone, and refused to tell anyone. And Sarah Bellows told the kids, and they died. And to hide the fact that they were the parents or the family's business, and them were themselves to blame. They blamed Sarah for the murder of these kids, and they took her to Penhurst Hospital for the mentally insane, even though she was not mentally insane, and she did nothing wrong. Actually, she had tried to save the children by warning them about the water. Just no one cared to listen. No one cared to listen, or they would tell the kids, "Oh, she's crazy. Don't listen to her." The things she endured to these people when she was in the hospital. Legit, her mother showed no feelings to her. Legit, there was a scene where I think Stella is basically placed in the body of, or reliving something that happened to Sarah, where she is basically being chased all throughout the house by her family, ripped, finally caught, and is being dragged / carried back to the disappointment room. Turns on the light. They throw her inside, and then she says, the mother closes the door, and the light's still on, and says, "You don't deserve the light," and just turns off the light from outside. I'm like, what the? Oh, I'm like, wow, I felt bad for Sarah. I really did. Not only that, then there's a part where they go to I guess would you be considered Penhurst State Hospital back then, or what the hospital would be, Penhurst Hospital. And they go in the record room, like old records, and it's like 1800s. Also, Sarah Bellows' brother was a doctor there and was like basically her doctor for her treatment, as you could say. What they did to Sarah is they did electroshock therapy. They did a bunch of other. They did. I think they said they talked about a lobotomy, but it didn't. Something like that, like a lobotomy. A couple other things, and there's actual like there was a visual story like they found a what they call a wax thing, which back then if you for recordings before they had like an actual recorder, they would record this a interview or something like that or whatever on this wax on this like black cylinder wax thing. You would put it in a machine and there would be a megaphone, kind of like the old record players you would see from like the 20s, and you would be able to hear the what was recorded. In this situation, they was recording basically, I would say, a low-key interrogation between her brother and her and a couple other doctors about how she murdered the kids and why she murdered the kids, and she said she never did that, and it was the water supply, and you never. And anyways, Sarah Bellows was killing these kids, killed the main characters as like rage. She was so pissed because for all these years people thought she was a monster and an evil person, when really she was just trying to do the right thing in the first place, and her family fucking shut her up in the end. She ended up killing herself too, which is kind of sad. But sorry if I'm ruining the movie, guys. It was just gonna say, if you don't want to have spoilers, don't watch the movie. Don't watch what I'm gonna say this review. But basically, yeah. So she where was I at though? So yeah, she basically was treated so bad that she hung herself, and she wanted revenge. Basically, she was angry, so angry. And then finally, I think what she really wanted this entire time was her story to be told, because Stella, to make everything stop, says, "I'll tell your story. I'll make the entire town know what really happened, that you did not kill those kids, that you were just a victim." And then, but there was the one line that really drove me to like a good scene where Stella's talking to Sarah's ghost, and he says, "Yes, you were a victim, but you've become a monster. You've killed my friends," and something like that. Anyways, also this was also talking about like during the beginning of the Vietnam War. So there's also that to go background in the story. So in the movie. Anyways, at the end of the movie, it's two of her best friends, Chuck and Augie, is I think their guys' names, are still stuck, I guess you say, in the book. You want to call it in the book if you want, or in their stories. Augie, by the way, had the big toe, and Chuck had the dream, which, by the way, fucking hate that bitch. She is creepy as fuck. I don't care what they say. Whoever did the animation for that story in this movie fucking did a great job. I was terrified. Like it was like scary. And the ending of the movie is basically like we don't know. Like I don't know if Chuck and Augie are still trapped or whatever. But I have a feeling that if we look through this book, we'll find a way to get them out. And then her sister, Chuck's sister, and Sally's dad, and Stella's dad. Sorry, Stella and Stella's dad and Stella are driving off into the distance, and that's the end of the film. Great film, great movie. possible leads into a sequel to get them sucked out, get out of the book. So yeah, definitely go check out Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, guys. Hope you like this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new. Share my videos on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. View wherever you can share videos, and let me know what was your favorite Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark story. And are you gonna go see the movie? Like, comment, subscribe, guys, and I will see you in the next video.